what is a paradox, why I like them so much, and what is the secret that the paradox holds within itself regarding the understanding of reality and the understanding of our own life experience. So I'll tell you a paradox that I made up myself just to talk about it. And it says this, or it goes like this. For you to realize you are here, you must be here first, right? Now let's take it to a bigger picture. For you to realize you exist, you must exist first. Because if you don't exist, you would not know it. So you must exist first, and then you realize you exist. So it is, to me, it's such a beautiful thing, a paradox. It's such a beautiful thing. It's almost like a, at the beginning, it looks like two contradicting ideas that are just kind of collapsing into itself. So there's a joke I heard before that I like too. It says, for you to get a job, you need experience. But for you to get experience, you need a job. So that's a paradox right there, right? It's like two conflicting ideas or two different directions that are just kind of collapsing itself. So that's what a paradox is, right? It seems like at the beginning it's something that has no solution. But the beauty in the paradox, for me, is that the paradox itself is the answer. Is a point that you can arrive in at least in a psychological, intellectual level, to realize a third point of view. Instead of having only two perspectives or two ideas that are collapsing into itself, the paradox allows you to have, let's say, positive and negative, and collapse itself into neutrality, into the point in the middle. The place where you can actually be, where you can exist without leaning towards creation or destruction. So the power of the paradox itself, the secret that holds within itself, is to allow yourself to drop your intellectual or your psychological tendencies to understand things, and just to see that everything is one thing connected. You know, you need a job to get experience of how to do this job, but you need to have some experience so somebody hires you to do the job. So you have these two things, right? So in this example, how do I put myself in a neutral place instead of feeling like, oh, I'm trapped. I mean, there's no exit here. There's no solution. You know, here it's like these things. How do I manage these things? Well, perhaps you can pretend that you are hiring yourself for the job, so you can get experience of what it will be like to already have the job. And this is a very, very small thing, of course. It's just a small example, right? But it kind of feels to me that that's how it happens. Because before the airplane was invented, there was nobody with experience on airplanes. There was just people trying to make airplanes. Do you see the paradox? So how do you discover something that it doesn't exist already? So before there were cars, there was nobody with experience of how to make a car. So do you see what I'm trying to go with this? You need a job to get experience. You need experience to get a job. Okay, you're a car maker, but before there were cars, there was no experience on car making. But it happened. It happened. The car making experience happened before there was an experience about it. You understand? That is the power. That is the secret that is held within a paradox. And paradox, it's, if you pay attention, it's everywhere. everything is a paradox. These ideas of the future, this idea of predicting the future. You can make all the predictions that you want in the world about the future, but the reality is no one knows the future. So when somebody tells you they're gonna give you a guarantee about a job or about security in your city or your country or something, that is a paradox, because how can someone guarantees what's going to happen tomorrow when in reality no one knows the future? So when we listen to people in the world talking about making plans for the future, it is important for us to remain alert in the understanding that they don't know the future. They don't know the future. You have to be clear about that. I don't know the future. You don't know the future. We are just doing the best we can to predict what is going to happen. And there's many ways to do that, right? We do that by tracking data, right? If you do the same things every day and you kind of get the same results, then it's easy for you to think you can predict that tomorrow you do the same and the same will happen. This is what we are doing. It's a species, it's a human society. We are using the data from the past to live in the present, trying to predict the future. It's all a psychological experience. None of it is actually real. None of it is already done. So to me, it feels very liberating to understand that, because then I can see people in the world and I can respect their points of view and their predictions without getting myself swayed by their influence. Okay? In any way, positive or negative ways. Because I can see that it's important for me to have the understanding that they don't know the future, and that I don't know the future. So it's good. It's good to keep yourself more aligned with what is your own personal reality, your own experience. You can even call it your own truth. Okay, so. This is one of my favorite subjects to talk about. It just keeps going and going and going and going. It's so beautiful. But yeah, I guess I wanted to say that for now. I'm very, to me, it makes me feel excited to think about these things. The more I think about these things, the more I realize that perhaps everything I knew before was just incomplete or even false, and there is a little bit of letting go of a lot of knowledge in my mind to be able to be actually present, okay, to be able to be living in the unknown. Like, I don't know what's going to happen a minute from now, and that is the only truth that I can feel that actually is. So living in the unknown, it can be very scary, but it can also be very exciting, because everything can change just like that. Everything. Sometimes you're having a bad day and everything changes, and now your day got so much better. It could be the other way. You can have a great day and then something happens. You spill your glass of milk, and now you have to clean the floor, and now you're like, well, I don't feel so great about this now. So